Ladies and gentlemen, I will have a live stream on this channel at 9:30 p.m. Pacific time, so be here at 9:30 p.m. Pacific on this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, the Durham Probe Special Counsel, this is an Epoch Times article. John Durham requests 30 subpoenas in trial against STEELE dossier source. Special Counsel John Durham asked a federal court to send out 30, basically demands for testimony in the pending trial against research analyst Igor Danchenko. Now, if you read the DOJ file on, or the press release on the STEELE dossier source, Russian national indicted for making false statements to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Defendant allegedly lied about the source of information provided to the Bureau during the 2016 presidential campaign. Special Counsel John Durham today announced that a federal grand jury returned an indictment in the U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of Virginia, charging the STEELE dossier source with 5 counts of making false statements. Now, you might say, oh, here we go again. There's never any justice. Oh, my God. Oh, there's nothing's going to happen. I know, I get it, I understand, but you also have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that Rome wasn't built in a day, and that you're going to have House and Senate. The House and Senate are going to be controlled by Trump Republicans who want, like James Brown, the big payback. So every investigation they leveled at Trump, you know, those investigations like the Liz Cheney and Kinzinger and Democrats going after Trump for trying to overthrow democracy. Well, see, they don't have anything on Trump. They have media and public relations. They never got him on anything because he didn't commit a crime. Had he committed a crime, they would have indicted him. Now they just have suspicion. The same suspicion that they coincidentally don't have when the president's son is actually weighing narcotics in a video. Or paying people for services in the evening, or brandishing firearms, or telling the world that, Joe has 5 different firearms. Okay, anyway. And then they're campaigning. They're the biggest hypocrites on the planet. But emails, voicemails showing that there are clear violations of the law, pay-to-play schemes. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that if you have emails asking for beneficial treatment, and then beneficial treatment being given to the people asking for these favors via email, and then you have hundreds of millions of dollars in financial transactions, 150 separate financial transactions deemed suspicious by banks, you would think you'd have an indictment there, but you will definitely have an impeachment. Okay, you won't have an indictment because nobody in media and loyalists within the United States government do not want to actually investigate or ever indict a Democrat. What they want to do is say, gosh, there was no intent for private servers with top secret intelligence. I mean, could you imagine Trump's greatest criminal act was trying to commandeer a limousine? He was trying to commandeer a limousine. He threw his dinner at the wall, and he told his supporters to peacefully engage in a First Amendment right that many people obviously did not, and it was a horrendous day. But you had that day every single day that summer. $1 to $2 billion in property damage, 19 lives lost according to Wikipedia, and 14,000 arrests. I agree with the cause, but I don't agree with the 14,000 arrests and property damage of $2 billion, according to Wikipedia. Okay, but Democrats, Kinzinger, Cheney, they only focus on one thing because it suits them in terms of politics. That's why they're hypocrites, and they're duplicitous, and they're disingenuous. Their outrage is completely manufactured. But see, the Durham Probe Special Counsel is the first time in trial in a court of law that anyone pointed the finger at Hillary Clinton. Who will you watch? I'm telling you right now, she'll be the nominee. And I've been predicting this for, it's kind of like the Cubs winning the World Series. Eventually they will. You can predict it for 100 years and it'll happen. So Clinton will be the nominee. If not 2 years from now, then 6 years from now with the Democratic Party. Okay? And I want that. I want a Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump 2024 and a Clinton DeSantis 2024. I want every pundit and every person that tried to write a hit piece on me 6 years ago who said, oh my God, he wasn't voting for Hillary. Is it Bernie or bust? because I was the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and the unofficial scribe of Sanders' most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. I predicted Clinton would lose to Trump, and the NPR quoted me. Nobody listened. Then they lost the Supreme Court, because had they gone with Bernie Sanders, he would have won those 3 states in the Midwest. He would have won those 3 states. Or, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. And so he would have won those 3 states. And again, Bernie Sanders of today is not even a shell of his former self, which maybe that was never, the image he portrayed in 2016 was not who he really was. Obviously, he's a tool now. He's a tool of the Democratic Party. He won't even admit he was cheated. By the way, I'm the only person on the planet who still talks about him being cheated. Okay? You would think that they would be traumatized by it, but of course they're not. They don't care. When you're a voter on the left, you're used to being cheated and trampled upon and lied to and deceived. But what are the alternatives? If you vote Trump, or if you sit it out, oh my God, you're a menace to society and to democracy. You'll lose all your friends, and family members will disown you, or not true friends will stay with you. But the friends who are easily influenced by media, CNN, MSNBC, they'll be like, oh my God, he's an authoritarian. Ah! And then you have to give them a history book and say, well, these are what real authoritarians acted like. And Trump allocated more funding to historically black colleges and universities than any president ever. And, he actually reversed U.S. foreign policy. He was less militant. Generally, authoritarians and tyrants are more militant. But see, again, you're dealing with people who they're not well-versed in history. They just focus on media and public relations and, his words, he's mean. It's like, well, okay. Biden isn't very nice. He used profanity and went after Ducey at Fox News. And then the immediate thing was, Trump is worse. Like, no, he's not worse. He never said that. Could you imagine had he said something like that? He's not worse at all. Democrats get away. You can look at Hunter's life. They get away with, losing a 38, a girlfriend putting it in a dumpster, and then they're pontificating and preaching. Anyway, the Durham Pro Special Counsel was the first time in a court of law that Robbie Mook and Mark Elias pointed a finger at Hillary Clinton and said, look, she went ahead and developed the media campaign. It was Robbie Mook that stated that Clinton gave information she knew to be false. That's why Mother Jones and journalists in these left-leaning publications were so happy and giddy when Sussman got off the hook, because they either didn't realize or tried to cover up the fact that the Bureau was in on setting up and framing Trump. Trump never conspired, nor was he helped by any foreign government. It never, ever happened. There's not a shred of evidence. The evidence is only, the evidence they cite is what people think, what they feel, what they assess. Intelligence officials, who in these cases were basically not necessarily paid to lie, but that was their job. They had to fabricate a myth. That's why when John Brennan was asked, is there any evidence that Trump worked with another country? He said, I don't do evidence, I do intelligence. Okay? The ODNI and DHS reports, which these journalists have not read, come with high to moderate confidence assessments. There are experts that say that Trump, there are foreign policy experts, many, that say that Trump was set up and framed. The problem is these people are never asked to testify during impeachment hearings. They're never asked to discuss, or they're journalists also, many journalists. John Solomon, many advocates also, legal scholars, Tom Fitton. These people have a conservative viewpoint, okay? They're never asked to testify. Okay, Victor Davis Hanson, amazing scholar. They're never asked to testify about how Trump was set up and framed. I wrote in the Federalist, I have a section in my website, hagoodman.com. You could read, also go to my author page in the Federalist. I have a section on the Durham Probe Special Counsel. The whole thing started from Clinton. Now, again, that's not only confirmed by the first trial with the testimony, But we'll find out even more with the Danchenko trial. It doesn't, honestly, he'll get indicted on one count, but it doesn't even matter if he doesn't get indicted. I mean, obviously it would be bad public relations. It'd be very bad in terms of public relations. But what we would find out would lead to endless investigations with the House and Senate. They'll impeach Biden for Hunter, and they very well could impeach him if he has anything to do with setting up and framing Trump, which he did. Biden's conduct pertaining to Michael Flynn was atrocious. And we found that out from the Durham probe. Give me your thoughts below, or actually before the Durham probe. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Be here at 9 p.m. Pacific. No, not 9:30 p.m.